Meanwhile, budget preparations for next year are now underway. The national outlay is expected to be a little over 3 trillion pesos. This report.
The budget called for the 2016 national budget amounting initially to a little over 3 trillion pesos compared to this year's 2.625 trillion is in progress. It is expected to sustain the reforms undertaken in the budgeting process undertaken by the Aquino administration under the watch of Budget Secretary Abando. Since 2011, reforms led to a culture of good governance with more transparency and accountability.
We have been spending within our means. In 2014, deficit over GDP was 0.6. Number two, we have been spending on the right priorities. Look at the spending on conditional cash transfer program, on basic education, on public health, on infrastructure. They have been unprecedented every year since 2010. Then finally, we have been spending with measurable results because for the first time in the history of this country, we have a performance-informed budgeting. So actually, you can demand now from every agency what happened to, did you achieve the targets for the money that we gave you? And the targets are very specific and concrete. So those have never happened before. And next year, we're going to hit 3 trillion peso budget.
As prescribed by the budget call memorandum issued by Secretary Abando, there were specific procedures and guidelines for all government departments, agencies, and government-controlled corporations to follow in the drafting of their proposed budget. The DBM will implement a two-tier budgeting approach to sustain the current reforms introduced in the 2015 national budget, major of which is performance-based budgeting. Next year's budget preparation will see lesser special purpose funds and lump sums.
We have introduced a lot of reforms that are now in place in the budget, and we are continually further reforming the process. This year, for the first time, we're going to have a two-tier budget. The first one is a review of the forward estimates of all the agencies. The second phase would be a review of the expansion or proposals for new programs or projects. So this allows us to scrutinize carefully the past performance of agencies and for them to argue the case for expansion of programs or the initiation of new ones in light of recent problems of underspending by some agencies.
The government is preparing to implement a more in-depth implementation of the Unified Account Code structure in the preparation of the 2016 national budget. It will upgrade the current system to include a location code to identify all projects and programs, the costs, and the implementation. In the meantime, about this year's budget has been 80% released to all agencies of government, especially for infrastructure projects. It will reverse the country's fortunes of lower economic growth in 2014 due to poor government spending.
Most of the infrastructures have been released. It's now the function of the agencies to obligate them.
Utilization, how fast do you think? Because
it's going to improve. It was slow last year, but after the experience and after all the requirements that they should disaggregate their projects, and they're not going to be releasing automatically the projects that have not been disaggregated, have forced the agencies to submit very detailed requirements. So there is going to be easier execution and delivery.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.